Watch him look ahead, dribbling with his head up. He sees White, unselfish play, conversion in the open floor for Nebraska.
Parker comes out, so too does Andrew White. And new into the game is Jack McVeigh, number 10, a 6'7" freshman from Australia.
And he can beat you from deep, Steve. He's 40% from behind the arc for Nebraska thus far.
Teams have combined for 8 shots, but 9 turnovers early, so ugly play in the first 4 minutes of this one. There is Scott Padgett in his second year. He was a college standout at Kentucky and played 9 years in the NBA.
And a really nice job by Coach Padgett there as Wyatt Walker came down to the other end. Rather than berating him, he told him to calm down. He understands that's a young post player in a hostile environment.
Webster gets the teardrop to fall.
And contrast that, Steve, with the 2 offensive fouls. Webster pulled up early, didn't take that extra dribble, avoiding the offensive contact.
And that was the first shot by a Husker other than Andrew White. Samford down by 5. Walker misses the easy layup. This is Glenn Watson, the freshman from Bellwood, Illinois. They really like his future. There's another turnover by the Huskers. Andrew White has been the early story this year, leading the team in scoring at almost 17 per game. They had over 16,000.
And Nebraska, one of 9 Big Ten teams that made it to the NCAA volleyball tournament, 2 advancing to the Final Four just about an hour down the road in Omaha. This is the 3rd consecutive title for the Big Ten Conference. The championship here from Nebraska follows up consecutive championships by Coach Russ Rose and the Penn State Nittany Lions.
The Big Ten has won 8 of the last 10 national volleyball titles. And here we go with yet another turnover by Samford. This is Webster. Ben Watson, we told you, he operates as the point guard unless Parker's on the floor.
And Samford going to a little zone defense here, trying to give Nebraska something to think about, and turnovers plaguing both squads, 11 combined thus far.
That's a nifty pass inside by Glenn Watson to Jack Hammond. Hammond unable to finish, but boy, he drew the defense well.
And a nice job by Watson of getting in the lane, and watch the bounce pass. He put enough mustard on it so it bounced up to Hammond's, making it very easy for him to handle. You see why Watson, early in his career here in Lincoln, an over 3-to-1 assist turnover ratio. That's outstanding.
Here is Jake Hammond, the sophomore from Comanche, Oklahoma. He only played 30 minutes last year, but playing more minutes this year because of their lack of a big man, and he's their only player over 6'7". Coming in for Samford will be Marcus Johnson, a 5'11" senior. Missing both foul shots is Hammond, but they get the rebound. And from the corner, it is Andrew White missing. Rebound controlled by Cunningham.
Nice job by Wyatt Walker for Samford, getting out hands high, giving White something to shoot over.
Samford hasn't scored in over 5 minutes. They have missed 6 straight shots. Nice drive and a pretty move by Darius Jones-Gibson. That is his game, too, Sean.
Nice job by Darius Jones-Gibson of attacking, and a really solid job by Wyatt Walker of sealing off the help in the form of Hammond, taking away the shot block.
Webster with a nice save. Hammond down low and struggles with it, but will wind up at the free throw line for 2 more shots. And the foul goes to Jones-Gibson, his first.
Samford foul number 15, Darius Jones-Gibson, his first personal foul.
Skip pass over the top. Nebraska very fortunate. How about the heads-up play by Ty Webster to find his teammate for another couple of free throws here.
But Hammond has missed all 3 foul shots. He came into the game a 53% foul shooter.
Steve, if you're Shaq, you can shoot 50%.
There you go.
You might want to get it up around 70.
Well, 0 for 4. That's not good. And they'll swing it left to Ty Webster. Picked up by Samford. Jones-Gibson down the middle of the floor. Will he drive? He'll kick it out. where they found the shooter well. And this is Marcus Johnson missing the three. White with his third rebound.
The next time down the floor for Samford, number 12, Matt Rose. If you're Nebraska, you have to find him.
Sean, that is the second offensive foul on Ty Webster.
And the third overall for Nebraska here in the first 6+ minutes of action. Webster turns the corner, rotate over, outside the arc. Will go the other way, and that also counts as a turnover. Miscues plaguing both teams.
Alex Peters set himself well, the 6'8" sophomore from Mountain Brook, Alabama.
Nice extra pass. Really nice extra pass by Samford there.
But Johnson can't make it go. Extend the defense. That's the first time we've seen Shields look to himself for the offense.
And a really nice job by kind of freezing the defender. You saw that little eye fake and pass fake. It kind of froze the Samford defender, allowing him to step back. Nice job by the senior for Nebraska.
That was Shields' first shot and first points of the night. He came in averaging 15.3. Jumper by Alex Peters will go.
Really good job by Peters there, Steve, of utilizing that inside pivot, facing up to the defender and then attacking him off the dribble.
Bad pass by Glenn Watson, and way too many turnovers for both teams.
You can't lose him. You cannot leave him. Nebraska very fortunate. That's a 47% three-point shooter in the form of Rose, who just missed.
And we will have a held ball situation. It will be the Huskers basketball with a 3-point lead near the 12-minute mark of the first half. And here's the Reese's perfect combination. Benny Parker, who's one of the best defenders in the Big Ten Conference, and Siobhan Shields, who's Mr. Do-Everything for Nebraska.
And Mr. Consistent. This is his 94th straight start here in Lincoln. Just gets it done all over the floor. And both of those guys, in addition to what they bring tangibly, they're going to have to provide a lot of leadership with this very young Nebraska squad, and not a new players here for Coach Tim Miles.
First foul for Johnson. So Nebraska will have it. And it almost seems like both teams are really struggling to find the rhythm, almost like they've had a week of finals, which both of them did.
Yeah, and keeping in this spirit of Festivus, a lot of re-gifting going on in the form of turnovers.
Here's Shields, does not pull up for the shot.
Nice job by Watson of reversing the basketball.
Wynn will miss the three. Rebound controlled by Alex Peters. Cunningham back in. Finds the lefty, whose three goes this time, and Matt Rose is a dynamic shooter. He has had back-to-back games of 17.
And he comes in shooting 47% from behind the arc. He had a wide open look earlier in this ballgame, not able to knock it down, but a good utilization and use of a screen along the baseline freed up Rose.
Watson swings it over to Shields. Shields on the drive. Oh, beautiful floater in the lane.
And a nice job of kind of floating, to your point, Steve, and avoiding the potential offensive foul. That's plagued Nebraska here thus far with 3 offensive fouls.
Shields now defending Rose. White fighting through a screen to get to Johnson. A wild shot by Samford, controlled by the Huskers.
Good active hands by Watson, came in there and forced that turnover.
Like Shields was trying to play a two-man game with Edward Morrow Jr., another talented freshman who's doing the game. And Morrow Jr. will get the bucket, but before that, Parker was charging. Tim Miles beside himself. The way his Cornhuskers have turned the ball over. You want to do anything you can to get in the game. So after Matt Rose hit the three, this is what Dakota Quinn did, snapping the ball to Tanner Tapp, a walk-on. And obviously, they're following a little bit of what Monmouth's bench has been doing early in 2015-16.
And somewhere Jan Stenerud is smiling because that was a great kick.
It sure was. By the way, the Chiefs won today. No comment from you. I guess the Bears lost. Here's the drive, and this is Darius Jones-Gibson. He usually winds up at the free throw line, but Samford, averaging 25 free throw attempts per game, has not taken one yet. And Watson will miss that three.
You can live with that shot if you're Nebraska. Watson, a 42% three-point shooter thus far.
Jones-Gibson has been very quiet early in this one. Just one field goal. Iman Johnson will miss from outside. He had a chance to give his Samford Bulldogs the lead. Corner, it goes to White. They'll swing it left to Parker. And Parker threw it away.
Yeah, there was no way that was getting through there. A rare mistake by Parker.
And a nice drive by Jones-Gibson.
Yeah, that last time down the floor for Nebraska, way too many hands in the way of that attempted pass from Benny Parker.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to try and reverse the basketball rather than slip it inside. Parker misses the three. He's improved that part of his game dramatically from last year, but still not the best three shooter on the team. Good rebound by Alex Peters, but he'll be one of the free throw line for two.
The turnovers, Steve, have really hurt Nebraska thus far, and this is a rare one from the point guard Benny Parker. Just way too many blue jerseys around there, and then a breakout opportunity in the open floor. Wonderful job by Darius Jones-Gibson of splitting the defenders and avoiding the charge.
So now Alex Peters at the free throw line. He'll make the first foul shot. Samford, a good foul shooting team this year. And they were shooting 75% before their last game, Sean. Then they shot just 51% from the line. And Scott Padgett told us that that really cost them.
Yeah, they went 14 to 27 from the line, to your point, Steve. 5 of 10 in overtime. You figure that out in a 2-point loss. That comes back to haunt you.
And it did. Samford on an 8-2 run. They now lead by 1. White. His three a little bit too hard.
And he didn't complete the follow through. He pulled his hand back on the release.
Boy, they're looking to drive every single time, but swatted away by the Huskers D. Coming in for the Bulldogs will be Dakota Quinn, the 6'9" freshman who we saw snap that football extremely well for the Tanner Tapp punt after a three by Matt Rose. Now we'll see his style on the basketball court.
And that free throw line extended is going to be where Nebraska can do some damage, either via the dribble penetration or an interior feed between the two lines of Samford defense.
Webster knocks it down.
And there it is, utilizing the dribble. You saw him get between the two lines of defense and make the defender make a decision. Nice job by Webster using the 2-foot jump stop, coming up under control.
So the Huskers back in front by 1. Rose out top, defended by Fuller. Cunningham, he's been very quiet offensively. Jones-Gibson beginning to heat things up. He's their top scorer, averaging 16.2 per game. That is a foul on the Samford Bulldogs. Jones-Gibson's second personal. We've got a timeout on the floor. 6:53 to play here in the first that have won at least 3 consecutive games. Nebraska wants to get win number 8 After tonight, they've got Prairie View, and then they, well, they're finally away from final exams, though. After Prairie View, they'll have a chance to go home and celebrate Christmas with their families.
And they will return, and conference play gets underway. Nice job by Fuller. Really good job of getting in there.
Well, coming up at the half, the State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson. Samford, meantime, with a 15-13 lead. There is Scott Padgett. He was a finalist for the Joe B. Hall Award as the top first-year coach last year at Samford. 13-19 in his first season after 2 years an assistant for the Bulldogs.
Nebraska now 0-5 from the charity stripe.
And you talked about their trouble with turnovers, 10 turnovers, but the good news is they're getting back on defense because Samford has only turned those 10 turnovers into 2 points. And the foul goes against Michael Jacobson, his first. Coach Miles knows it's going to be rough this year in the Big Ten. One of the top conferences in the nation. They've got 3 teams in the top 10. Michigan State, number 1. Purdue, number 9. Maryland, number 6. And plenty of talent with the way Northwestern, Indiana, Iowa are playing.
But Ohio State getting a big neutral site versus Kentucky yesterday.
Number 4 team in the nation.
Next time down the floor offensively, Steve, I'm going to be very surprised if they don't try to run the offense through Siobhan Shields and get something going toward the basket trying to stem the tide.
And here's a look at the coaches poll. Michigan State is 1, and you have Maryland 7. They're 6th in the AP poll.
And Purdue, you saw coming off their first loss to Butler in Indianapolis. They have a big non-conference game in a couple days versus Vanderbilt on BTN.
Well, they would have been a shot clock violation because Peters was unable to hit iron, so White will bring it down the other end of the floor. Here is Shields with the floater, and he knocks it down, and Shields just scored his 1,300th career point, becoming the 13th Husker to reach that mark.
Really smart play. I thought they would go through Shields to try to get something for the senior going, and he delivered.
You know what? If I'm his teammate, I want him to have at least 1 touch every time down the floor. Good things happen when 31 touches it.
Because he's unselfish.
Johnson misses. Shields has it. He has Webster off to the right. Siobhan will take it himself and score.
Well, we just sung his praises, and he missed a teammate in the open floor. But he did go Moses Malone and had the offensive rebound stats.
That's indeed what he did. Cunningham. In and out. Kristen has only taken 3 shots early in this game and made just 1. I beg your pardon, he has not made a shot. 0 for 3. Shields on the drive. Got it.
That's a play. Even last year, certainly 2 years ago, he's not able to complete. He kept his eye on the rim, able to play through a little contact, and a nice job by Shields. This is a team in Nebraska that kind of bogged down offensively. The last 2 times down the floor, Shields has taken it upon himself to be a little bit less unselfish and hunting for his own shot.
6 straight points for Shields. Will they go through him again? He's off on the left side and gets the basketball. Tried to feed inside to Michael Jacobson. The freshman couldn't handle it. This is Cunningham, and he scores his first bucket of the evening.
Really nice job by Samford in the form of Kristen Cunningham attacking in the open floor, but it's been Siobhan Shields, Steve, who's attacked on the offensive end, scoring the last 6 points for the Cornhuskers.
Just a dynamic talent, and everybody has heard the story of his dad, who was a former Husker and a Kansas City Chief, offensive lineman, Will Shields, 12-time Pro Bowl winner. I'm sure Siobhan was watching his Chiefs dismantle Baltimore earlier today.
And in addition, kind of represents what college basketball is supposed to be about, an academic All-American. How about this in microbiology? How about too shabby.
Like a 3.8 GPA. And Watson back in along with Benny Parker.
You can see all the youth out there. Jenkins are way too close together, not proper space.
Watson misses. He had to take the shot as the clock was running down. Here comes Marcus Johnson in the other end, loses it, and Watson with the steal. White off to the right, and Andrew will score.
And a really nice job by both players. It was a subtle thing, Steve, but White, rather than run in a straight line, veered out to the right to create a better passing angle and make that 2-on-1 possible.
Nebraska by 3.
Parker just is such a defensive nightmare.
And that's why Cunningham has been so quiet in the first half, but drains the 3 outside because Benny had to go where the ball was and double down, and Cunningham was able to hit from outside and tie the game at 21.
And when he did have to double down, he's not large enough in stature to come out hands high and disrupt the vision of the shooter.
Fuller gets it to Watson. Andrew White for 3.
The difference between that and the one he missed a few possessions ago was the follow-through. He stuck with the shot rather than pull his hand back.
Marcus Johnson to Iman Johnson. Cunningham again defended by Parker. There's the screen, and Cunningham will miss the 3. Rebounding Watson.
Good job by Rose to be in there on the catch with White.
This time it rattles out, controlled by Fuller, and he has it stripped but will be fouled. Time out of the floor. 1:59 left in the first half. Siobhan Shields playing like an all Big Ten player.
In Madison, not featured there. How about in 14 years at the helm of Wisconsin Badgers, all 14 years finishing in the top 4 of the conference standings. Tremendous.
And he celebrated his 68th birthday today. So Greg Gard is the Badgers interim coach, and he's a guy that you really believe in.
He has worked his way up the coaching ladder, kind of mirroring what Coach Ryan did. Tremendous assistant, worked his way up, now has a chance to show what he can do, at least temporarily, in the head coaching seat. And you mentioned Coach Ryan celebrating his birthday. I think the people here in Lincoln will celebrate the first made free throw here tonight for the Cornhuskers.
0 for 8 from the foul line. Cunningham from the corner knocks it down and ties the game at 24, and Scott Patch has got to be pleased.
Boy, really outstanding ball movement against the defense of Nebraska. They weren't able to get into any kind of set on the defensive end of the floor.
Shields is now 6 of 7 from the floor for 12 points.
And a nice job by the senior of getting in that seam, that foul line extended, and a nice delivery, making his hands available for the pass, that time from McVeigh.
Marcus Johnson at the point. Matt Rose, a good 3-shooter. He's well defended. This time by Jack McVeigh. Walker misses the shot underneath, and a whistle and a foul will be called against the Bulldogs. Again, coming up at the half, the State Farm halftime report with Dave Refson. There's Coach Patchett. He was part of that 98 national championship team with Tubby Smith at Kentucky.
We've talked about what Siobhan Shields means to this team. How about what he did? Walking with Nick Fuller down the court. He knows Fuller has struggled from the foul line. He's going to the line. You saw the senior talking to the less experienced player, kind of telling him to relax. Small but subtle things. Really good job of being a tremendous teammate there by Siobhan Shields.
And they make their first foul shot. And you wipe the sweat from your brow, and Tim applauds as well. And it's not like they're a bad foul shooting team. They're a 73% foul shooting team this year, but 1 for 9, 2 for 10. White will come back in. Fuller will lead gives him a pat on the back as Nebraska has a 4-point lead inside of 1 minute to play first half.
But I really like the job again, Steve, that Shields did in calming down his teammate. He knew that he was under pressure.
We talked about it at the Open. 10 newcomers.
And it's been reflected in taking care of the basketball. Double-digit turnovers here in the first half, 4 coming for the Cornhuskers via an offensive player control foul.
And there's the steal by Shields, and he will go all the way and get fouled. Johnson got back quickly for Samford.
Samford foul number 2, Marcus Johnson, his second personal foul.
Shields, rather than slapping on the ball, comes at it with the inside hand, doesn't slap down on the wrist. He'll go to the line and shoot a couple. I think he's probably as mad at himself that he didn't give it up to his teammate that was running the left wing.
And he was taught better than that by that gentleman in the stands, Will Shields, the 12-time Pro Bowler in the NFL and a great guy, and Siobhan's dad. Well, you talk about a tremendous offensive lineman for some of the great running backs for the Chiefs. And by the way, his Chiefs team has not lost since the Kansas City Royals won the World Championship.
I think that's exactly what they had in mind.
Yes, indeed.
That's
they were 1-5, and now they're 9-5. Brooklyn Olathe, and that is suburb of Kansas City. Oh, Almo Cunningham.
What a nice. This is a well-coached Samford team, Steve. They really are struggling on the offensive end of the floor. They run a set. Nebraska's going to have a chance to do the same when we
lead over Samford. The Cornhuskers have been a better second-half team as they make adjustments.
And they've been a better last 10 minutes than they were in the first 10, kind of tidying up the turnovers. And now Nebraska, they have to utilize some patience. You don't want to take this last shot of the half too quickly to allow a potential breakout opportunity for the Samford Bulldogs.
And Shields just reminded Watson to slow things up, back it away, and now they'll go into their offense. Glenn Watson, who's the freshman, he gets it up to McVeigh, who will miss the 3, and it's picked up by Samford, but going out of bounds with 0.4 seconds left. So Miles, with instructions, Paget wants to set his defense so they don't have that long 3.
You're going to probably have a staggered screen and maybe a lob up toward the rim for a chance to tip it.
Watson can't get it to go, and that does it. But Nebraska has their largest halftime lead in 6 games. Tim Miles' Huskers lead Samford 30-26 at the half. It's the Huskers by 4 after the break. 24 points on 10 of 15 shooting from the floor. But the rest of the Huskers, Sean Morris, only 6 points on 2 of 8 from the floor.
The rest of their teammates struggled not just shooting the basketball, but cumulatively, this is a Nebraska squad that struggled taking care of the basketball. 12 made field goals in the first half for the Cornhuskers. You match that up with 11 miscues. That's a big reason that Samford is still within striking distance. The good news is that off those 11 Nebraska turnovers, only 5 points off those miscues by Samford.
We saw Scott Paget. One thing he knows his team has to do with Nebraska is rebound the ball better. They were out-rebounded 24-12 in the first half. And it is Samford basketball to open the second half. Cunningham and Jones-Gibson combined for 18 points. They averaged 30. And this is Cunningham, who was much more aggressive, Sean, in the last 8 minutes of that first half.
Really good job of spreading the floor by Samford to start the second half. And the stats, you mentioned that the field goal percentage a little bit misleading for Nebraska because of the turnovers. The second from the bottom there for Nebraska. Samford, that's a team that gets to the foul line 24 times per ball game, only 3 visits in the first half.
And that was a season low for the first half. There's the pressure by Samford, and Nebraska worked on it a lot today at practice. Benny Parker will try and break the pressure, and finally does, and they break it nicely, getting it to Andrew White, who will line up at the free throw line.
And that's something that Coach Tim Miles talked about to us as well, Steve, that once you get over the top, he felt like they had to make Samford pay for pressing, and a really good job by Webster with the touch pass. Over the top by Parker, the touch pass, excellent job. And Samford not able to rotate over and maintain verticality.
White has tremendous offensive potential. And he has a season high, career high 30 against Abilene Christian earlier this year. We told you the transfer from Kansas. He had 58 in back-to-back games against Abilene Christian and Creighton.
And an 84% free throw shooter goes 0 of 2 for Nebraska to start the second half.
And so as a team, they are now 4 for 14 from the free throw line. Not good. Benny Parker picks up his second personal foul. Michael Jacobson earlier picked up his second, and Miles a little concerned with the way his team is playing. He knows they've been picked to finish near the bottom of the Big Ten this year, but it's mainly because of their youth. Lost Terran Petaway, Walter Pittsburgh to the NBA, and David Rivers, Leslie Smith, and Terrence Smith all gone as well.
You could tell that attacking the rim was a point of emphasis for the Samford Bulldogs, and yet another turnover for Nebraska against the full court pressure of the Samford Bulldogs.
Now Samford has taken a 1-point lead. You might remember they led by 8 with 7:18 to go and did not take care of the basketball late, losing to South Alabama in 2 overtimes on Friday.
They are really spreading the floor and making a concerted effort to attack off the dribble, not just to score, but to build up the fouls and potentially get in the bonus situation as this half unfolds.
Kristen Cunningham swings it back to the right. Shot clock down to 5. Swinging in is Wyatt Walker, and he is fouled.
Nice job by Walker of locating the defender Jacobson and understanding if you're going to make a move, make it decisively, and Walker does just that. He'll be rewarded with a couple of free throws.
Jacobson with his 3rd personal foul and his 2nd in the last minute, so Jake Hammond will come in at the next buzzer. Tim Miles, he is really into the social media. This was what he tweeted at halftime. We had 11 turnovers and 5 assists. We have 4 charges, and that shows we didn't move the ball enough and played selfish basketball.
That kind of sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. 11 turnovers, 5 assists. Not good. A 6-0 run to open the second half. And they almost throw it away.
If Hammond doesn't come back to meet that pass, that's another turnover.
Parker and Watson now in the backcourt. Watson, the freshman, the top players in Illinois last year, and one of the top incoming point guards in the country. Shields with the pull-up. He hits.
We saw it toward the end of the first half, Steve. When Nebraska was in kind of an offensive funk, he decided, I'm going to take it over. He ran off 6 straight points, which allowed Nebraska to build that halftime lead. And here he says, I've seen enough. I'm going to take the shot myself.
Yeah, Shields has 16 already. Offense has to go through him. From the corner, Johnson hits. Samford has hit 4 of its last 6 3-pointers. And the steal, and Watson almost steals it back.
Watson stared down the intended recipient there, making it an easy steal for Samford. Look at the spacing of the floor. Samford really spreading out Nebraska defensively and utilizing the dribble drive to effect.
Walker can't finish. Shields with the rebound. Siobhan dribbles through pressure and gets fouled, and I believe it will be called an Iman Johnson, who reached in. His 3rd personal foul, and that's a good defender that likely will have to go to the bench. Johnson will take a seat. Coming back in, their 3-shooter, Matt Rose. You can see Scott Platt just saying, why would you do that?
Nice pass. That's one that Hammond just has to have his hands ready. That was a wonderful delivery from Siobhan Shields.
Wyatt Walker, and he takes on Jake Hammond, who is the tallest Cornhusker, and that's back-to-back mistakes by Jake. 1 on offense, dropping the basketball, and 1 allowing Walker to slide by him and then foul him.
And a nice job by Wyatt Walker of understanding that side of the floor was cleared out. He inside pivots, creates space between himself and the defender, Hammond, and then attacks off the dribble.
Yeah, you were teaching us and Tim Miles earlier today about the pivot that your high school coach taught you and had you do it like 500 times in between 2 tires.
Yeah, well, that's why I have absolutely no skills of any value. But I got that down.
But you can pivot with any.
I can pivot.
Nebraska inbounds. Watson. Samford on an 11-2 run to take a 5-point lead on the Cornhuskers. Shields. And there may have been a shove underneath. Looked like a Samford Bulldog shoved Jake Hammond as he was battling for rebound position.
That was on Matt Rose. And again, Siobhan Shields trying to get something going. Pretty good job by Hammond there of getting inside position and forcing Rose to give the foul for Samford.
With this amoeba defense has been very valuable for Samford.
Nice flash cut. They missed him. Shields did a really good job of making himself available. They just missed him.
Well, he's made several good passes, but his team can't finish. Shields is doing everything he can to help the Cornhuskers reclaim the lead, but they're unable to finish after excellent passes.
This is where Nebraska needs to clamp things down, because right now Samford, their body language on the offensive end of the floor completely different.
Yeah, and Jake Hammond is getting schooled by young White Walker.
They spread the floor again. We saw him down in the mid-post. Spread the floor and isolate him here. Nebraska expecting a dribble handoff. There's no ball pressure. Teams honored the scattering report, but they didn't offer or honor the second option, and Wyatt Walker took advantage.
Samford by 7. Webster back in the game. And losing it is Webster. Nebraska just playing some miserable basketball the first 4 minutes of this second half.
And Ed Morrow in there for defensive purposes. Oh, beautiful job moving without the basketball, playing through the high post rather than delivering offensively. It's the high post delivery to the back cut for Samford.
A 15-2 run by Samford. Watson, Webster in the backcourt. Morrow, Shields, and White on the front line. Siobhan, great pass inside, and finally a teammate has the ability to finish in Andrew White. What else can number 31 do?
Right now, he, along with his teammates in White, Steve, they have to clamp down on the defensive end of the floor. Everything going to the basket for Samford thus far in this half has paid dividends.
Wyatt against Morrow, bowls his way up and in. Samford dominating inside, coming off a tough loss against South Alabama in 2 overtimes. They've got the chip on their shoulder. In Lincoln, Nebraska, Samford with a 9-point lead over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Steve Fiziak along with Sean Morris, and Samford on a 17-4 run to open the second half. It looked like Nebraska having a tough time decoding that amoeba defense.
And especially on the defensive end of the floor, Nebraska not getting it done as well. Samford has spread them out defensively, and attacking the basket has paid dividends, not just in terms of dribble penetration, but feeding the post. And right now, the bigs for Samford really taking advantage, especially in the form of Wyatt Walker.
They could take a double figures lead, and they do, as Wyatt Walker finishes the 3-point play. And this full court pressure has also paid off, because Nebraska's getting into their offense a lot later.
To your point, right now they have not even begun to crack the 3-point arc, and the shot clock already approaching 15.
Shields defended by 2. White gets it, and they will swing the defense towards him. three. Watson lets it fly. Misses short, but Shields with the rebound. And knocks it down. Shields with 18 of his team's 36 points.
And that was a big play for any number of reasons. One, certainly the basket for Nebraska, but if Samford's able to get out, that potentially had the opportunity to be a breakout opportunity in the open floor.
A three. Jamal Shabazz hits the three, has a chance for a 4-point play.
We've seen this floor spacing pay dividends for Samford with dribble penetration. Here they split out the Cornhuskers, and the momentum just carries Andrew White into the jump shooter.
Second foul on White. He gets the miss. So the lead is 11 for Samford. Watson has almost been invisible offensively, 0 for 3 from the floor. And he's really not looking to shoot, as we will see a personal foul called on Kristen Cunningham, his first. I mean, they're getting nothing other than Shields and White, and they're 30 of the team's 36.
And they've struggled to take care of the basketball, both at the beginning of this ball game and here at the beginning of the second stanza. And the body language completely different than when we went to halftime. The pep is in the step right now of the Samford Bulldogs.
Nick Fuller can't make it go. Cunningham flips it to Jones Gibson.
Smart play by Samford. Pull it out, run some clock, and force Nebraska to defend. Nice job by Merle of honoring the dribble handoff as well as the path to the rim. But when you help, you have to fulfill the second part of that equation, which is recover. Wyatt Walker shows you what happens to Nebraska when that doesn't happen.
And I'll tell you, Wyatt Walker, for a freshman, high basketball IQ. He moves well without the ball, and Tim Miles has some problems. And BTN to go. Well, they're chanting "Go Big Red," and Nebraska certainly needs to do that, as Samford has outscored Nebraska 23-6 in the second half. Remember, the Bulldogs only scored 26 total points the entire first half.
They have beaten Nebraska off the dribble. They haven't had to take, other than this one three-point shot, everything that Samford has been able to garner offensively has been going toward the rim thus far.
Watson operating at the point. Parker is off in the corner. Shields tries to drop it low to White, and does, but no fouls called as he's knocked down. Samford has made 5 of their last 5 field goals.
Good hands by Siobhan Shields.
White on the drive. He'll lay it up and in.
Shields was able to come in there and knock that ball loose, Steve, because rather than slap down, he came in with 2 hands and jarred it loose, creating a rare open floor opportunity for Nebraska.
Andrew White has scored 200 points this year, becoming the 5th Big Ten player to score 200 this year. He's averaging over 16 per game. White defending Wyatt Walker. White almost gets the steal. Shot clock down to 2. Cunningham has to throw it up, and it misses, and that is a shot clock violation. 11:37 left in this basketball game. Nebraska within 11. Winning point, and there is Coach Cook, 2015 volleyball national champions. Over 16,000 fans were in the stands.
And Nebraska, one of 9 Big Ten teams to advance to the national tournament, one of 2 in the Final Four, and Nebraska breaks a 5-game losing match skid to Texas going back to the Big 12 days when they were both members of that conference.
And congratulations to freshman Michaela Fakey. She was named the player of the tournament. Now Nebraska trailing by 11. And Watson remains in the game as the point guard. Shields kicks it out to Watson. He'll go corner to Parker.
Boy, nice block out. Wonderful block out by Samford. You saw Darius Jones-Gibson give up his body and get in front of the much larger player, McVeigh. Watch at the bottom of your screen off the skip pass. Pretty good shot. You can live with that. But the blue jersey has inside position. Great job by the leading scorer for Samford of giving himself up defensively.
And Glenn Watson right now not even looking to score. He's a 43% three shooter. He kicked it corner to Parker. The defense was flashing out at him. Jones-Gibson, 1 plus the penalty.
This is where almost half the points that Darius Gibson puts up, almost half of his 16 points per ball game, come from made free throws. He comes in averaging almost 8 made charity stripes per game.
Watson will try and work against the defense. Marcus Johnson back in defensively. McVeigh finally gets it to Shields.
And look at the shot clock again, Steve. We're at 15 seconds, and the ball has not approached the three-point arc.
White misses the three. Marcus Johnson. It's just one and done. Nebraska not getting the offensive rebounds like they got in the first half.
You're starting to see the cumulative effect of that press. It's forcing Nebraska to burn so much clock getting the ball up the floor. They're not able to get into any kind of offensive continuity in a half-court set.
And the only way to get him out of that is to defend. Don't let him score so easily. And there's Walker battling for it. It's won by Johnson. They're getting all the loose balls. Iman Johnson wants it because the much smaller Glenn Watson is defending him down at the post. Boy, good passing. And Rose misses the three. And Andrew White is fouled by Johnson. That will be his 4th personal foul.
Boy, and White hit the floor hard. Some inadvertent contact. But White hit the floor very, very hard at the conclusion of this play. As usually happens, the ball will skip from one side to the other on a jump shot offering from one corner to the next. White understands that. He just gets tangled up inadvertently and takes the fall.
And Watson gets it across. Shields faking the shot, trying to take the freshman Rose.
Good team defense.
Glenn Watson hits the three. His first points of the night.
And what I really liked about that was not just the ball reversal, but it was a small thing, but the pass from McVeigh led Watson right into the jump shot. He didn't have to reload. He was able to step in confidently on the ball reversal.
White goes for the steal. Johnson picks it up in the backcourt. Shot clock down to 8. Rose leans in. No. White rebounds. Is this the time Nebraska will make their run?
He got fouled.
But nothing called, and the ball goes out of bounds to Nebraska.
Well, Samford caught a break there. But watch the ball. Watch with his pass. It leads Watson right into his jump shot, Steve. If that thing is a little bit behind him, it's going to make it that much more difficult for a guy struggling with his shot to shoot it confidently. But the delivery from McVeigh made that possible.
He'll need his offense, though. He's the guy who hit that big three with 15 seconds to go to tie Miami. They would lose in overtime, but he's known for his clutch play early as a Cornhusker. Here is Shields. This time, the foul is called.
Second foul, number 55.
The ball reversed reversal finds Shields on the wing. The shot fake, he'll go to the line and shoot a couple. This has been an area of concern for Nebraska all afternoon.
Chabon, who is a 72% foul shooter, knocks down his first. Last year, he ranked among the Big Ten leaders in scoring, rebounding, free throw percentage, and minutes played. He makes it an 8-point game, and the Huskers on a 5-0 run. Now they need some stops. Crowd picks up here at Pinnacle.
Watson really doing a good job of battling for position, giving up a lot of size down there, but he's not giving it up willingly.
Rose spins, gives it up to Cunningham. He'll lose the ball, but go to the line on the drive. And this is where Cunningham and Jones-Gibson so clever against defenses this year. Tim Miles screaming at the officials. 70-67 in their last game. They rallied from 11 points down. And they'll have to come back from even farther than that against Samford, who now at the foul line will try and push their lead back to 10. Cunningham with 16. Bad foul shooting haunted them in the loss to South Alabama. They're doing a much better job tonight.
Foul shooting has abandoned Nebraska here for long periods of time. The Cornhuskers only 6 of 16 from the charity stripe thus far here.
Back to Watson. And then it's an offensive foul on Chabon Shields. Boy, some of their younger bigs for Samford really understand what Coach Padgett has been teaching them.
And watch him rotate over. He's set, arms up, takes it right in the chest. That's the 5th offensive foul on the ball game for Nebraska.
Cunningham to Jones-Gibson. Peters gets it inside and is fouled by Parker.
And that's one where there's just a breakdown in terms of defensive communication for Nebraska in the half-court set. Another half a step, there's no way that that pass gets through there. Pretty good job of helping. But the 3rd and 4th defenders on the weak side, Steve, have to rotate down and make that pass come back out rather than the bounce pass right at the rim.
Peters 1 of 3 from the foul line. Now we'll see that pressure again. Watson races into the forecourt. Got bumped by Cunningham, but no foul called. And Parker will get the offense going with 22 seconds left in the shot clock. Andrew White, no.
He was fighting his feet on that jump shot. He never had his feet under him. He was kind of floating to his left and tried to compensate with the upper body.
The miss.
Good job by Shields down there in the block of walling up.
It's one and done for Nebraska.
This is a team in Samford. Rebounding was a big concern for them coming in, but they've done a really good job of, once the shot goes up, finding a white jersey and putting a body on it. Right now, Samford spreading out Nebraska defensively and then just attacking off the dribble. That has paid dividends. They set the tone coming out of the locker room here in the second half. That's what they were going to do, and it is paying dividends thus far for Coach Scott Padgett and the Samford Bulldogs.
And they're making their foul shots. Shabazz with his first. They are 10 of 13 from the free throw line in tonight's ball game. Ty Webster, who hasn't played that much in the second half, comes back in. And going to sit down is Andrew White.
In Nebraska, where they were getting into an offensive flow, they were attacking that high post. The flash cut from the other side. Good job by Shields of making his hands available, making it easier for his teammates to find him.
Nice move by Siobhan Shields.
And low man wins, and Shields shows you why. Able to get down and step through.
He has only taken 12 shots, made 9, 22 points. For a guy like that, you may want to see him take 20 shots.
Especially against this zone defense, which has really given Nebraska trouble in the half court.
They don't panic, even though the shot clock down to 6. Cunningham will take the jumper and miss. Rebound is controlled by Nebraska's Michael Jacobson.
Good team defense by Nebraska.
Got to believe they're going to go through Shields. He starts outside, now goes in and gets the little jump hook that will not fall. It's saved by Jacobson. McVeigh misses the 3. Ty Webster claims it. Parker on the drive. No, and he'll wind up at the free throw line for 2 shots.
Good job on the scramble situation by Nebraska of not settling unnecessarily for a quick 3. Now watch the drive and watch what McVeigh does right there. Number 10, he seals off Walker just enough right there to take away the opportunity at the block shot with the smaller Parker going to the rim.
Parker makes the first to cut the lead to 9. It was the 3rd foul on Wyatt Walker. Now Matt Rose will come back in. He's the 3-shooter, and the defender, Marcus Johnson, will take a seat. Iman Johnson back in. He will come back in with 4 fouls.
Iman Johnson, the transfer from Maryland Eastern Shore, one of the most experienced players for Samford.
An 8-point game with 5 minutes to go. And now we'll see pressure from the Nebraska defense. Jones Gibson says clear out. I'll bring it up myself. Wyatt Walker with a much smaller defender will drive and can't score. A chance to get within 6. A 3 could cut it to 5. Parker. No foul called. And he tries to get it back, but it goes into the hands of Matt Rose.
I think the only one that was more confused that there was no call than you was Coach Tim Miles.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact. Walker gets it, and great block. Michael Jacobson. Shields. Webster's got to get involved offensively. Bay almost lost it. Webster checked the shot clock. Still plenty of time left. Now it's down to 10. Ty Webster with the jumper. No, and Webster continues on ice.
When Benny Parker, he almost came up with a steal.
3:40 to play. Samford by 8.
For providing for others, and on our State Farm assist of the ball game, Siobhan Shields shows you his unselfishness, turning the corner to Andrew White, who's also had a nice game offensively for our State Farm assist of the game.
They have combined for 36 of their team's 47 points. They trail by 8. Samford has missed 7 straight and still leads by 8 because the Huskers have made only 1 of their last 8 shots.
Benny Parker is going to get a steal before this is over. He has been so close with those active hands.
Jones, Gibson, shot clock down to 5. He'll kick it into the corner. Cunningham with 1 on the shot clock. No. Wyatt has it lost out of bounds.
And Benny Parker
Went down hard.
Yeah, he took one right in the face.
A little wobbly getting up.
Pretty good job defensively by Nebraska. Contested 3, and you see, again, that's just inadvertent. But a good job by Parker of getting inside position on the much larger player.
And Miles will switch out his better defender for a better offensive player, bringing back Glenn Watson. Shields goes corner. Webster for 3. Got it, and it's a 5-point game.
And a nice job by Shields of freezing the Samford defender. Because he's turned the corner so many times, they had to honor the dribble drive. That freeze allowed Webster to get his feet set in the corner, and there was no way the help was going to get out there in time.
Samford has not made a field goal in more than 10 minutes. The last 6 points have been scored from the free throw line. Rose. More 3. Are you kidding me?
That was money by Rose.
Matt Rose, a freshman from Lexington, Kentucky, out of Christian Academy, a finalist for Kentucky's Mr. Basketball.
It shows you why he shoots 47% from deep.
Is that amoeba defense? Shields. For 3. 25 for Siobhan Shields. Once again, cutting the Samford lead to just 5 points.
When they were struggling from the foul line, and Siobhan Shields showing you why he's one of the elite players in this conference and our Duluth Trading hardest working player.
And he easily could have 7 assists if his teammates could have held onto the basketball on good passes. And we have a foul called on Glenn Watson Jr., his 2nd personal foul.
Last time down the floor, which led to the timeout. Watch Siobhan Shields set the screen, then flare out just enough to provide a passing angle. He's improved his 3-point shooting about 10 percentage points from his junior year.
Cunningham, an excellent foul shooter, just under 80%. He is an honors candidate for the Southern Conference this year. He was their freshman of the year. Great game, 17, and he's made all 6 of his foul shots now.
Still plenty of time if you're in Nebraska. But again, the cumulative effect of this press has shown here in the second half against Nebraska. Yeah, they need a ball reversal. The ball was on the right side of the floor the entire time, and that forced Samford to only defend half their defensive real estate.
And Glenn Watson was open, setting up for a 3 on the left side. 1:41 left. McVeigh setting the screen. And a foul called against Samford, so Nebraska likes that. Clock not moving, chance for points.
And a really good job by the freshman guard, Watson, Steve. A lot of times when you see somebody try to split the double team, they'll be straight up and down. You saw Watson get down to floor level, making it very difficult for the defenders from Samford to strip it away.
And Watson did a great job in their victory recently against Rhode Island. 13 of his 17 came in the second half. They'll get another. From the Huskers, full court.
In a difficult situation, you have a freshman trigger man in Rose. Now, what that deflection does, Steve, is that now the inbounder is forced to a spot. He can't run the baseline.
Rose almost forgot, does inbound. Here comes Cunningham, full court. best defender, Parker, on the sideline.
Now they've got a mismatch through the Bulldogs. They've got Watson down there against a much larger Walker.
Matt Rose hits. Boy, he has been money the last minute.
Right now, if you're Nebraska, every Rose does indeed have its storm. He's putting it right in your side.
Then Watson misses the three. It's won by Walker. And a foul is called.
Well, Rose, on a couple of possessions here in the last 4 minutes of clock time, when they needed something delivered, he did just that from behind the arc. And Shields trying to help out his teammate, just not able to get out there in time.
Rose with Samford's only 2 baskets the last 12 minutes, but both of them have been huge. Meantime, Walker will try and fill it up from the free throw line. He is a 72% foul shooter. He had a terrific game in their loss at Texas December 6th. He had a career high 14 points.
And I really I go back to the first half, Steve, when Walker was trying to do things too quickly. Remember, he missed a couple of shots right at the rim. And I saw him go over, and Coach Padgett, rather than berate him, he knows he's a young guy, kind of built his confidence up, and that has paid dividends for him in the second half. He's been outstanding.
McVay's feet were not set. Kind of his off angle, and the rebound goes to Samford. And Scott Padgett was telling his team after the game, tongue-in-cheek, he said, "You ruined my Christmas with the way you played against South Alabama." Well, this would be a remarkable victory going on the road, winning at the Big Ten. Samford is 0-7 versus current members of the Big Ten. Their last game was November 14th last year when they lost by 40 points at Purdue.
Well, if the game versus South Alabama was his lump of coal in the stocking, it has been converted into a diamond here this afternoon.
Penn State has had 3 losses to mid-majors, Minnesota 2. Tennessee Chattanooga, also in the Southern Conference, knocked off Illinois earlier this year.
And the thing is, with the teams that are outside of quote-unquote the Power 5, you have a lot of experience. So they're able to go on the road and play with a great deal of confidence.
McVay's got to take that shot. And a rookie mistake. Tim Miles, we told you of all the young players that he has, 10 of his 15 are all newcomers. And they played like it in this game here in Lincoln.
And Steve, you go back, what difference it might have made if Benny Parker doesn't take that hit to the head. He might be over there on the sideline because of concussion protocol, and his ball handling and defensive prowess has been on the bench for about the last 2+ minutes of clock time.
Ty Webster with his 3rd personal foul. A lot of long faces on that Cornhusker sideline, and it is going to be a mean Big Ten. There's only one team that has a record under 500 this year, and that is Rutgers. They won today, so they're 5-6.
And the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Steve, have to sit on this loss for a couple of days. They have Prairie View coming in, and then there's about 7 days between that and then the conference opener. So they need to get some things going, especially on the defensive end of the floor before conference play makes a visit to Lincoln.
Your old school, Northwestern.
And Northwestern has a chance to come in 12-1, and they're playing very confidently as well.
Samford just running it out with by far their best effort this year. A marvelous victory on the road at a Big Ten school. Samford knocks off the Nebraska Cornhuskers by 11 points. Tim Miles offers his congratulations, but he'll have a lot of work to do tomorrow in practice.
A lot of things they can look at in the film, especially on the defensive end of the floor, Steve, because in the second half, Samford came out, made a concerted effort to attack off the dribble, and because they did that, they were able to withstand a scoring drought in the latter 4 minutes of this ball game.
For Scott Padgett, perhaps the most important victory in his young coaching career. A win at Big Ten, Nebraska. That's it from Lincoln. Final score again, 69-58. This has been a presentation of the Big Ten Network. BTN football in 60. Michigan State at Nebraska is next.